Good evening, everybody. It's Garden Eden here. Welcome to another channel update video. Now, I normally don't do these, let alone two in a month, but given the subject matter of the August 3rd video, including a mention of the fact that I was experiencing a stroke-like symptom, possible stroke that I ended up having that we were investigating, I felt it was only prudent I made a follow-up video because it's just kind of weird to leave everybody, the entire community, and everybody on a cliffhanger. So I just want to give everybody a proper update as to what in the world's going on, because a lot of people did reach out to me, which I really appreciate. To start off with, let's get it right out of the way. The CT scan results came in 10:54 p.m. last night, and I got the CT scan done Monday morning before right at around 8 o'clock sharp. The CT scan was done, and so we waited quite a long time. We basically doubled the amount of time they quoted us, which honestly had me a little bit concerned because I didn't know if they were double or triple checking what they found or what was going on. But the brain density is normal. There's no parenchymal hemorrhaging. There's no edema, mass lesions, or hyperdensities, or fluid collections, and the calvaria is unremarkable. So, in other words, in layman's terms, there's nothing going on in my brain. That's kind of a self-burn there, isn't it? What I meant to say is that there's no evidence of an acute or prior infarct. There's no evidence that I had a stroke either then or anywhere in the distant past. Although oddly enough, I am still having symptoms in my right arm. It has constantly ached and hurt since August 3rd, and I don't know why. But considering the CT of my brain cost me $1,199.74, I'm not in any hurry to find out what's going on with the arm. At least I'm not going to shell out another grand for an EMG or something. It really isn't going to be that big of a deal. But I did want to address kind of where I'm at with everything and just how I'm doing personally. I'm doing well. I honestly knew I would. I knew it was going to take a while to break from everything, but I knew I was going to be fine. The reason I knew that is because I'm literally fine and mellow with everything else. The only major weakness I have is Undertale, was really at that particular point Undertale and Deltarune. There is so little that gets a genuine reaction out of me, either extremely positive or extremely negative, that I think part of me just has this morbid fascination with things that cause me to emote, whether it's emoting well or emoting poorly. And with Undertale and Deltarune, there was a palpable mix of both of those things. There were things that make me feel really good and things that made me feel really bad. And honestly, I didn't care which end of the spectrum I fell on. As long as I was continuing to feel something, it felt rewarding to me. But it just got worse and worse. Clearly, I wasn't in a good place. I kept trying to carve more and more exceptions for myself. I kept trying to make sure all runs and everything are streamed, all of these things, all just coming public with all of these things, that just to make sure I was holding myself more accountable. And yet, even despite all of those precautions, nothing was changing, to the point where I realized I just can't make excuses. I have to stop. And stop I did. But the only reason I broke ties from the community is think of it like you just want to stop eating ice cream, except you're in an ice cream store and everybody else around you is holding a cone. That's kind of how I was feeling when I was in the no-hick-tail community, when I was trying to think of breaking for it. And so I didn't want to burn any bridges, and I didn't want to cause any drama. I just needed to leave, and I think it did me a world of good. But I've been able to watch people's content and listen to what other people are doing, see video updates, without feeling any sort of inkling or desire to return back to it and play it. I have not even once broken the fast. My Steamed last played information still indicates early August. I haven't opened it or closed it. I haven't closed out of Discord and did all those other things. Unfortunately, I now will admit to this, I had broken several fasts at times with past quitting, which is why I knew I had to completely stop. and because I just did not trust myself to. If I could find even one out, I would probably exploit it. And this isn't about exploiting loopholes; it's about getting better. But I'm hopeful for being able to return to the community if the community will have me, just because I no longer feel that sort of intrinsic or extrinsic pressure for me to be able to go through and challenge. And I knew the community assured me multiple times that nobody was being pressured to do anything. Um, I couldn't internalize that at the time because I always felt pressured in some way, shape, or form, whether people intended for me to be pressured or not. Um, but I think as far as where I'm at with the videos, multiple of my videos are privated, and I had indicated that I was going to take steps to delete them eventually. I hadn't followed through with that yet, and I honestly don't see any reason to delete them at this particular point, even though they don't have the same level of intrinsic value to me as they may to other people. I can't pretend I didn't take a step forward. To quote an out of context, well, not a very out of context thing, but from incidents, feeling that I might haven't gone anywhere and I might revert back to the same habits would not have stopped me from taking that step. It may trick me into thinking the step never happened, but what is thought is not what is necessarily. And I don't think that's any more true here. I have taken steps forward, whether I choose to think I have or haven't. I really have. So I'll go through the process of unprivating those videos. They'll be back up on my channel, but there won't be any others. There's just not going to be any other Undertale or Deltarune content. I can't. I just can't go back to that. I'll go back to everybody else, and I'd like to go back and say everybody with open arms again. But I I will not go back to Undertale and Deltarune. But thank you all very much, and I appreciate your time for this update, and I hope all of you have a good rest of your weekend.